welcome back to my channel. My name is Keh-me and you are watching Milano Doll here on YouTube. Today's video, as you can already tell by the title, is the second part to my How I Study for A-Levels series. The first part to this series was How I Study for A-Level Chemistry. If you have not yet watched that video, I'm going to put it up here in the cards. Do make sure to go watch that video if you study chemistry or if you're just interested to see how I study chemistry. Today's video is going to be primarily focused on psychology. There isn't very much I do compared to biology and chemistry for psychology because it's very straightforward for me, so I don't really have to put too many steps into making sure I understand the content and I'm doing what needs to be done to ensure I get good grades. So this video is going to be quite short, quite snappy and very much to the point. Before I get on with the video, if you study psychology A-level, do make sure to drop a comment down below letting us know what exam board your school uses. So the first stage or phase for studying psychology A-level is my initial learning. Now, if you've already watched my How I Study A-Level Chemistry, you'll be very familiar with my initial learning because it's very similar to how I study for chemistry. In fact, it's literally the same thing. Essentially, this is when the teacher teaches me. I allow myself to be taught. In my chemistry video, I mentioned that I don't make notes and I just allow myself to be taught. I do the same thing here with psychology. I don't make notes in the classroom, and it's very hard to make notes. I've tried to make notes in the classroom with psychology before and it's actually not easy at all. It's not as easy as it would be with chemistry and biology a bit. What my school does though, we're allowed to have our laptops or any devices that we use, whether it be an iPad, your phone, whatever, out in the classroom for psychology, and I basically just follow along with the PowerPoint on my laptop. If there's anything that I notice that isn't on the PowerPoint but she has made prominent in the lesson, I add to the slides, I alter the slides, make the slides optimum for my learning so that when I come back to it to make my notes, I get the most out of the slides. Essentially, in my initial learning, I don't take notes in class. I allow myself to be taught. I ask questions, I contribute, and yeah. The next stage for my studying is note-taking. So after the lesson, usually after the lesson or after we've just done that specific part of the topic, I make notes on it. I try to make my notes as frequently as possible so I don't have like a bunch of content stacked up waiting to be reviewed and made into revision material. So essentially most of the time I make my notes after the lesson that day or that week. I type up my notes. I don't write my notes by hand. The only thing I do by hand are the flashcards, but I will get onto that when we get to that phase. Once I've typed up the notes, I do go ahead and print them out. So this is an example of a printed out sheet of notes, and you can see that I basically have laid out the procedure, the participants, the aims, the findings, and also gone into depth in evaluating the different factors affecting conformity. This is essentially what my notes should look like for psychology. I do make my notes in pages because I figured out that you have a little bit more creative freedom than you would have on OneNote, and I was using OneNote before and I just didn't really like the way that my notes looked, and so I tried out Pages and it actually does suit my standards. But yeah, essentially I would make my notes for that specific lesson and then I'd move on to the essay writing part of my studying. So at this stage, we would have completed that subtopic and our teacher would have had us write an essay as a class or specifically write an essay individually. We'd usually give the essay that we write individually in and she'd mark it, give us feedback, the usual. But either way, I always print out the essays that we do get done. So whether it's as a class or individually, or if the teacher has just sent us an essay, an exemplar essay, I always print them out and I annotate them. This is an example of an annotated essay that I printed out. It's kind of unfinished. I haven't really annotated down here the evaluation points, but I have annotated up. I basically just make things prominent, highlight keywords, and at the sides I summarize what that paragraph was about and certain things that I should include in my own essay writing. And then once I've done that, I've annotated and I've read through the essay, I usually make an essay plan. The essays are very much based upon describing and evaluating, so you don't really need to give an input on what you think that this may mean or what the deeper perspective of this is. It's literally just point blank period. So making essay plans is essential to make sure that you know what you're going to say in the exams, because you do need to state facts. Like, you're practically writing an essay of facts. As I mentioned before, I usually do my essay plans on flashcards. So this is one for attachment, which is a topic in psychology. Behind the attachment flashcard, I basically have a summary of what attachment is, keywords that I need to remember, and just a quick summation of attachment, the topic. So this is an example of what the essay plan would look like for animal studies. Essentially, I have my AO1 and my AO3 laid out for me. I know what I'm going to write in my AO1 paragraph, and I know what I'm going to write in my AO3 paragraph. I do recommend doing this if you study psychology. It keeps everything prominent in your knowledge, and it ensures that you actually have a good understanding of what's going on in that specific topic, not only essay writing, but just so you actually understand what's going on in the topic. And then yeah, once that is over, it's time for the end of topic test as usual, and same goes for psychology as it did for chemistry. I literally just hammer on exam style questions, exam style questions, exam style questions. I know that sometimes I can forget about actually doing exam questions, so I make sure I hammer on exam style questions in the lead up to the end of topic test. And then I do the test, and that's it for that topic, and the whole cycle continues. And that is literally it for what I do for psychology. It might change further down the line. I might find out that I need to do more, but at the moment this is working for me. I hope this helped anyone that studies psychology. If you did find it useful, do make sure to subscribe, comment and like, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.